Hey, I'm Seth, and I'll unbox pretty much anything, and today I'm unboxing the brand new Apple Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro. In today's video, I'm not only going to be unboxing Apple's newest Magic Keyboard, but I'm also going to be trying to figure out whether this $350, what essentially is an iPad case, is actually worth the price point. And I really do want to figure that out because I bought this for myself, and I really want to use it, but $350 is a lot of money, so if I don't like it, I'm gonna return it. As always, just like every other video on this channel, if you wanna grab whatever it is that I'm talking about in today's video, there'll be an affiliate link in the top of the description. But before we actually get any farther into this unboxing, I just wanted to explain why there is no plastic on this box, and that's because I've already ripped it off. I started to film this unboxing like 10 minutes ago, and I didn't realize that I had left the camera in slow motion mode, so the unboxing kind of looked like this. But the good news is I only ripped off the plastic before I realized that I was filming in slow motion, so I haven't actually gotten to the case yet. And come to think of it, I want to just make sure I'm not filming in slow motion again because that would suck. Okay, yeah, we're good. I was really worried there for a second, but we're good. So before we actually break into the box and take a look at the iPad case or Magic Keyboard itself, let's just take a quick look around the outside of the box. The front of this matte white box obviously has the Magic Keyboard logo and also an image of the Magic Keyboard, I guess open is what you'd want to call it, I think. The sides are pretty much just plain white, and then the back of the box actually shows the different orientations that you can have the Magic Keyboard in. As you can probably tell by the size, this is for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and this is technically for the 2020 version, which I just unboxed a couple weeks ago, and if you guys would like to check out that video, there'll be a link at the top of the screen. But according to the back of the box, it does also work with the 12.9-inch third generation, which I believe is the 2018 version. There is, of course, another size of this Magic Keyboard for the smaller iPad Pro, and I believe that retails for $299 versus the $349 for the 12.9-inch version. Personally though, if you're going to spend that much money on an iPad, I would just go big rather than spending like $200 less and getting something that's got like 2 inches less. But that's just me personal. So without further ado, let's pop this guy open. Taking a minute. There we go. So here it is, the iPad case itself in this sort of matte plastic. There's nothing else inside the bottom of the box. Let's pull this plastic off. Easy. Very nice. Put this off to the side. And then it looks like we've got the iPad case itself. It comes in the same sort of rubberized black plastic or rubberized black synthetic leather that a lot of the other Apple case products come in. I don't know how well it wears because I haven't had an iPad case in a minute, but it feels relatively durable. I don't think it's going to last you forever, but if you take good care of it, it should be fine. So on the back of the case or the bottom of the case, you've got just a plain black finish. Obviously, this is where the keyboard rests. And then on the, I guess the other side of the case, you've got the Apple logo debossed into the back. You've got the camera cutout, obviously for the newer iPad Pro, and then one of the hinges. So let's pop this guy open and see what we've got. Okay, looks like we've got piece of cardboard. But it does look like this piece of cardboard has the instruction manual in it, so let's pull it out. Let's see if these instructions are actually useful at all. Are there any Apple stickers in there? Not seeing any. That's too bad. For $350, you would think, but I guess not. This Magic Keyboard instruction booklet has how to magnetize your iPad to the back of the case, how to open the case, and how to charge the case, all of which are pretty self-explanatory. But I guess, you know, maybe legally they have to keep that in there. I don't know. But here it is. Here's the case itself. Looking pretty good. I don't think it opens much farther than this. Yeah, it looks like this is the widest it can go. But on the back of the case right here, you've got this nice sort of velvet, almost suede feeling finish. This is obviously to protect the back of your iPad Pro so it doesn't get scratched. You've got the smart connector right here on the left-hand side. And then on the bottom of the case, you've got your beautiful Apple keyboard, which feels really nice. It's got a lot of travel. It actually feels like one of the older MacBook Pros, like the 2015, 2014 version. Feels really nice. And then you've got the star of the show right here, the trackpad, which is glass, feels really, really nice to the touch. It is a little small, but of course it's an iPad, and it clicks. It actually clicks. It's not an electronic click like some of the MacBook Pros. Very nice. That hinge also feels really, really sturdy. I love the way that feels. That's great. It also looks like the USB-C charger is on the left-hand side, and I believe this only actually charges your iPad, and you can't plug anything into it that's data related. Like you can't plug a USB in there or anything, so that's fine. It is what it is. You can charge your iPad and then plug in whatever it is to your actual iPad itself. But without further ado, let's throw on the iPad. So my current iPad Pro case is kind of a placeholder. It's got that sort of flip back panel right here. It's like a cheap Amazon case. It was like 14 bucks. It's fine. It does the job. I don't know how well it actually protects the iPad, but it works. Of course, you've got your second generation Apple Pencil, which I use for sketching all the time. I'm surprised by how much I've been using this for sketching. The one small downside that I've heard about this case versus, a basic standard case is that it's actually kind of hard to sketch in this case because this doesn't actually flip backwards. So if I'm going to sketch on it, I probably got to take the iPad out of the case, which is fine, I guess, because it's magnetic, so it shouldn't matter that much. I feel like there should be some dramatic music while we're doing this. Ha! That's sick. That's so cool. Wow. It really does look like it's floating. That's crazy. I love that. Okay, so at this point, all I've done is I put my iPad in the case, and I'm wondering if it works right off the bat. So let's see. It does. It really does. That's awesome. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. Let's open up email. So the touchpad actually shows up not as an arrow like you're probably used to, but as like a sort of low opacity circle to show you where your finger, I guess, would be. And like I just mentioned, you can use the same gestures on the touchpad, which is nice. Let's try typing something. I'm terrible at typing though, so this is not going to be a great test. Do I suck at typing? Yes. Oh, I forgot that it was a backlit keyboard. The only downside that I've heard about the backlighting of this keyboard is that you can't adjust it on the keyboard itself. You've got to go into settings, and it usually just goes off what the iPad screen is doing, which I guess usually is fine. I do have to say though, it feels a little bit top heavy, but I wonder, that's not bad. I was expecting it to flop over, but it's not. That's great. That looks really cool. Okay, let's try and close it, see how it looks. Nice. Feels really premium. I'll give it that. It feels like a very premium laptop. Like a laptop in a portfolio. The one thing though that I'm kind of thinking is not going to be great is that the Apple Pencil is just kind of sitting up there. Like if you knock it, well, it's not coming off, but usually it would come off. So why don't we go over some of the pros and cons and use cases of this keyboard case, and you can decide whether you think it's worth the $350. The pro is that it feels very premium and the build quality is great. I think it looks great, I think it feels great. Durability might not be incredible, it is kind of a thin case, and to be honest, if I was throwing this into a backpack while I was traveling for years, I don't know how long it would last, and that kind of sucks for something that's $350. To be fair, it could surprise me, and I won't know until I actually try it, but that's kind of a con to the pretty decent build quality. Aesthetically, it's beautiful. I think it looks gorgeous. I love the fact that it makes the iPad float. I think that's so cool. The hinge is nice. It stays securely. That's great. It doesn't flop over. I guess that's not aesthetics, but it does look great. This is honestly one of the most beautiful device cases I've ever seen. And it makes sense because it's an Apple product. They usually make pretty incredible stuff, but it looks great. I really love the way it looks. The keyboard itself feels great. It types really nicely. It doesn't have an escape key, which kind of sucks. Like you can't back out of apps with the escape key like you think that you would be able to. So that kind of sucks. And it also doesn't have a row of function keys. So if you like those, you're gonna be out of luck. The trackpad feels incredible. I love how clicky it is. I love how premium it feels. It feels like you're using a smaller MacBook Pro's trackpad. It feels great. Now, like I said, for sketching, it's not great. I have to kind of sketch like this, which I don't like doing. If I'm sketching on an iPad, I usually want to be sketching like this or kind of sketching at an angle like this, but not the way that it's kind of set up. So that's kind of a downside for me, especially since I use this mainly for sketching. This would definitely be something that you would use in place of something like a MacBook Air. At least that's how I would use it. If I was someone who was typing up articles or doing something that requires a keyboard, this would be great. It's a super powerful piece of technology. The keyboard works great, functions great. It doesn't have the full Mac experience because you don't get the full desktop, but you do have a pretty fully functioned almost laptop at this point. It's pretty impressive. For me personally, this case is definitely more of a luxury and a nice to have and not a need, because with my laptop I usually do video editing, which this can do but not as well as my laptop. I also do Photoshop, which again this can do but not as well as my laptop, and I run SolidWorks sometimes, which this can't do. So it's nice to have if I'm going like on a quick trip up to New York from Philly, or if I'm visiting a friend a couple hours away. But if I'm going on a business trip and I'm filming videos, I don't think this would cut it. And that's not a downside for just the keyboard case itself. That's kind of a downside for the whole package. If you need a fully functioned laptop that's super powerful, this is obviously not the right way to go. If you're looking for a very capable piece of technology for entertainment, the iPad is obviously great. But if you're doing something like taking notes in class, or writing emails, or writing articles for a website, or doing some pretty non-computer intensive stuff, this is a perfect solution. It's slightly cheaper than a laptop, a very expensive laptop, but it's dope. It's really dope. It's a nice piece of technology. I love the way the case feels. I think it's really cool, but is it a need to have? For me, no. And for that reason, I don't know if I'll be keeping it. I'm gonna play with this for another couple hours and maybe, sleep on it and try it out and see what I think about it. Not sleep on it literally, but think about it while I sleep. I don't know what that phrase really means. It doesn't really matter. But so for $350, you definitely want to consider your use case. If you already have an iPad Pro from 2018 and you want to give it a new little bit of life or kind of make it more interesting than it is, buy the case. Sure, you spent the $1,000 on the iPad a couple years ago, you could buy this case and you're good to go. If you have a 2020 iPad Pro and you've always wanted this case because you saw it when it got announced and you loved it, sure, buy it then. Or if you want to turn your iPad into a notebook, because I think that's probably the main use for this, it's great. It's really great. But for $350, it is a lot of money. So definitely consider what you're doing and consider if it's worth the cost. It's also a little bit more difficult to open than I would like. The hinge is great, but actually finding somewhere to grab it to pull it open is tougher than I thought it would be. The new Apple Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro is a great way to supplement your iPad and essentially make it a laptop. And I gotta be honest, for what it is, it's great, but it is $350. And if you're fine with spending that on your iPad, go for it. If you're not, you could buy like a wireless Bluetooth keyboard and pretty much get the same thing. But with that, we wrap up the video for today. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on this keyboard case and whether you plan to get one for yourself. There we go. It's back on again. So let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.